Ah, hello,
Hey,
hello,
hey,
hey, how are you? Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is episode 12 of the Kids Health series with Lawrence August. Hey, Lawrence, how are you? Happy
hey,
12.
hey, 12.
Hey,
We got a dozen. Let's go.
let's do it.
Heidi, you know what's next, right? We
One,
gotta do our famous high five.
one, two, three, hit. Oh my God, that was the closest we've ever gotten.
Well, oh man. You gotta
Anywho,
keep watching until one day we'll get that right. Maybe by
speaking
episode
of,
100.
everything is caught up on Rumble. You can find us on Rumble. We are still up on Facebook Live events. You just search hashtag Kids Health. And then we have the Kids Get Healthy YouTube with the playlist on there of all the episodes. We have Heidi Pop from Los Angeles YouTube with everything up there. Please check it out. What I love, Lawrence, is I know we're going to talk today about healthy food swaps. And I'm really excited about this conversation. But just to backtrack a little bit for everybody, these are fundamentals and like a root philosophy about overall optimal family health. So it's kids, it's families, it's you and I, whether you don't have kids or not. This is just really good roots and basics of optimum health. So there you go. But I love the healthy food swap stuff. So
Yeah, healthy food swaps are going to be good for everybody tuning in, whether you have kids or not. You know, the idea of swapping is relevant across the board, whether we're talking about food or whether we're even talking about habits. You know, there's this expression, nature abhors a vacuum, right?
yeah.
When we remove something's going to take its place. And often when it comes to diet, first of all, that word diet is tricky, right? Because some people associate diet with restriction, losing weight, or the diet, the general way of eating that we talk about. And, you know, when we're facing a lot of the challenges like obesity in particular, you know, this tendency to pull things away. You know, it's tempting to just pull things away, whether you want your child to lose some weight or for yourself. You're thinking, I've got to restrict, I've got to take away, but that's going to backfire quite often. And what we need is a strategy to begin to replace. I always say, don't erase, replace. You know, don't drop it, swap it. And it's kind of the way that I sort of frame it. And so today I wanted to talk about that process, why it's important, some of the particulars, like, you know, which exact food items that we can swap. And I also wanted to share with the audience today a little bit of behind the scenes of the process that I do when I'm actually working with, you know, clients, and how we can actually customize that. Again, as Heidi said at the start of the show, these are general principles. You know, the principle of swapping is something great to know. And then what those particular swaps are, that's going to vary for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons, right?
Yeah.
You might have cultural preferences. Some people have, you know, sweet tooth. Some people love salty. Some people love crunchy. And that's a big part of what a good, healthy swap is going to be. It's going to deliver that thing that you like in particular. You know, I like crunchy food. What can I find that's crunchy and going to be a little bit of an upgrade health-wise, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I wanted to share too that, you know, I used to do the craft services. I was on set, and then I came into motherhood during that journey and that career.
Yeah.
And my kids would show up to like their little hippy dippy granola Steiner school and all this. And like, I had pizza and hot dogs and hamburger. Like they do all the general food, but I'm like, wait. But I swap out the ingredients. Like we use the cleaner, healthier version. Sure, it's a kid friendly menu, but I was known for high vibe snackages, and I was notoriously known for swapping out things. Oh, is this? So I'm loving. I'm going to be able to give my 2 cents on some menu
I
items.
love it, and I would love that. I mean, you know, I continue to explore this idea, and I would love feedback from you today on some of those things, because it's really endless. And also keep in mind too that it doesn't have to be like a complete overhaul. That's another kind of important thing at the start here, is that this can be gradual. You know, Kids Get Healthy, our philosophy is little steps, big health. Little steps, big health. So over time, might be, you know, just swapping some breakfast items at first. You don't have to like run through the whole day, right? It could be doing 50-50, right? So maybe you have a mix of things. Maybe you bring some
That's
of the
what we
newer
do.
items in, expose your children to some of these newer items as you
Mhm.
gradually phase away the other ones. So the swaps don't have to happen abruptly and immediately. They can be gradual. Even in the sense of even at the same meal, we're going to talk about that, where you can do these like 50-50 splits of ingredients, again, to just gradually move the palate.
Yeah.
And remember, hunger always wins, right?
Yes.
So what we're also trying to do is we're trying to eat in a way that's tasty, delicious, and satisfying.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to eat when you're hungry, you're going to eat till you're full. And if the way of eating is not serving that, it's going to eventually fail, right? People
Yep.
will revert to older habits.
Yep.
So let's fire it up. Let's do a little screen share. Okay.
It's coming.
Hold on one momento.
Da, 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 da.
Give me a little musical interlude here. Okay, let's go
Oh, here we go.
with this one here.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first thing that I kind of like to do is just group these things out. We go breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, right? And just kind of get the ideas going, right? So right out the gate, if we're looking at something like breakfast, obviously sugary breakfast cereals are a big culprit in today's diet, right? So maybe it might be transitional. Maybe we go from a super sugary cereal into something a little more whole grainy. Maybe we find something high protein, no added sugar, right? We're going to pull up some examples of that later. These kind of switches.
Yeah. They
Maybe
do
we
make
go
good alternatives. They do make good alternatives that don't have all the crap in it.
lots
Yeah.
of good alternatives out there nowadays, a ton. Maybe we go from white bread to whole grain. Okay. And then maybe we go from, whole grain into the more, what we'd say, grain-free, gluten-free options. There's all those out there. Probably a whole other show that we should do on, gluten, celiac, gluten intolerances. And these are kind of important things. We'll touch on, obviously, we're going to do a whole show, I think, on glyphosate, right? So there's a lot of nuance in each of these, but, again, upgrade, slowly transition. Maybe we want to look at like our regular yogurts out there, a little fruit on the bottom, added sugar yogurts that are so popular. Maybe we go with a high protein Greek yogurt and we can add our own, fruit in there, right?
It's
Speaking
also
of
cost effective. It's
super
better.
cost effective,
Yeah.
right?
They add all the stuff, it goes up in price. So put
The
it in
high
yourself.
fructose corn syrup and all of these additives that are in there, thickening agents that are in there. It's unbelievable what you find in these. And speaking of fruit, there's a lot of fruit juice out there. A lot of juice boxes floating around out there, guys.
Yeah.
Maybe we want to start incorporating more whole fruit, or maybe if we want to do a fruit juice, maybe it's with the pulp and the fiber. Those are things that we can think about. These different pastries. Maybe we do some good old fashioned, slow cooked oatmeal. Real important here. Maybe we go from quick oats to slow cooked, right? That could be a swap. Why is that important? If something cooks quicker, it's going to burn faster. If it burns faster, you tend to get hungrier sooner, right?
Gotcha.
So there
Gotcha.
are
Yeah,
these
those
trade-offs.
slow cooks keep you full for a long time because they keep
Ex-
expanding. Yeah, it's really nice. But you add the
exactly.
protein. Everything you add the protein first when you have that carb.
And add it. Oh, Heidi, you are good,
I'm learning.
right? advanced levels, right? So there you go. Like maybe get a little hard-boiled egg on the side, right? Get a little protein up front. That's just amazing. Sometimes even like throwing a little bit of protein powder mixed in with the oatmeal. People don't think of doing that, but that can actually help. Oatmeal itself has a little bit of protein, which is nice. It's high fiber. Add a little bit of fruit in there for flavor. Delicious, right? It's just kind of getting the palate transitioned. A lot of these cereal bars, right? There are a lot of quick and easy homemade, these kind of like homemade bars that you can look up. You guys, we're
Yeah.
in the age of technology and internet, and there's no excuse right now. You can find alternatives to these. And yes, sometimes you gotta make this yourself in your kitchen. Throw these things in the oven. But now you got a batch. You can freeze a lot of these
Yes.
kind of things.
Cost effective, and you can control the ingredients. And a lot of those little energy balls and things are like 3 ingredients. Your kids can do them.
Exactly. Homemade
Make them
energy
do it.
balls, right? They're little
Mhm.
rolls, and you can have those available. I'll make batches of those, throw them in like freezer bags, and you have them ready. Pull them down, take them out as needed. It's great. A lot of the sugary jellies, you can use, nut butter, start replacing that, do a little 50-50, mash up fruit. Kids don't care, right? Thing is, you want to make it look similar to what they're used to. And again,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
might take a quarter spoon of the jelly that they like and mix that in with fresh mashed fruit. Now you got a fruit spread.
You start cutting it.
You start cutting down. Now all of a sudden it was 20 grams of sugar. Heidi, quick question for you. How many grams of added sugar is recommended for kids in a day?
Was it 25?
Oh, you got it. Yes.
Okay.
25. So that is, how many teaspoons that is?
It's like 4 or something small, right?
You
Is
guys,
it?
Heidi
I'm doing my homework, everybody.
Heidi is killing it right now this morning.
lemon
Episode 12
water.
right now. We're on fire. Yes.
She's finally
So,
here.
if we
Oh,
can
can I
visualize-
share you, since you got me all
Sure.
fired up?
Yeah,
When you were at the
let's do it.
juices, just tell people we just had a guest over too, and I have juice, and the mom's like, I'm like, I make cocktails. So I mix the juice with the bubble water, seltzer, and it cuts it all like totally in a third,
Beautiful.
but it has just enough sugar. They think they're drinking like soda. Okay, go ahead.
Just enough. You got some bubbly, you can do sparkling water. That's a great kind of idea for swapping from soda. Because to give you an example, a can of soda can have 50 or 60 grams of added sugar, guys. Do the math on that.
Yeah, they're not even an option in our house. So like we just treat it as like solid.
These are things that taking a hard look at those numbers, and I'll put that up on the screen. But we can go from the pancake syrups, which are artificially flavored concoctions. They don't have maple flavored. It's a perfectly good substitute to move into pure maple or mashed berries. Or I like to take frozen blueberries. I'll put them on a pan, right? I might add a little coconut oil on the pan. I let that melt down a little, and now I've got a blueberry syrup for my pancakes.
Guys, a little honey.
A little honey, right? These are definitely better upgrades to the typical syrups that we find on the market.
I got to work on the syrup thing, because of course the cleanest ones are the most expensive. So I found if you look even Amazon and just get like ones from Canada or Vermont direct, they're a little cheaper than even in the grocery store. If you get the prime, it's a little cheaper. Okay.
Even the pancake mixes now, I'm not affiliated with this company, but Birch Benders, I'll shout them out. They make a variety of different style pancake mixes, and higher protein pancakes. They're wonderful, lower carbs for children with gluten intolerance or gluten sensitivities. They do the gluten-free options. So great stuff, right?
Yeah, we love
whether breakfast. It's if they like to do the jambas type smoothies, which are loaded up with a lot of sugar even from the fruit. Maybe temper that down, add a little bit of leafy greens in there to kind of begin to, again, dilute down the sugar. We get into, I'm going to kind of rapid fire this list because we got a lot of visuals coming up.
Yeah.
But when we look at this, what is the kids menu, right? Chicken nuggets, right?
Chicken nugget fry. Yeah. Brown.
Everything's brown and fried and crunchy. It looks like bar food, I would say, what are the first 4 letters of bar food, Heidi?
Brown. BROW.
Bar food.
BAR.
Bar. Sorry, but now grilled chicken strips. Air fryers are game changers, guys. These air fryers, they're amazing. If you want something crispy and done up, a wonderful swap, right? Thing is, kids are gonna like little finger foods. They're easy for parents too, right? So again,
that's my son. Okay.
Easy swap, right?
Yeah.
White rice, nothing particularly wrong with white rice, but we also know white rice cooks faster, which means what?
Burns faster,
right? The old adage about Chinese food, you eat it, hour later you're hungry. a lot of that has to do with white rice. Now, again, there's nuance here. For a child who has tummy trouble, gastrointestinal problems, white rice might be a better call because it's easier to digest, right? This is where that customization can help. You can move that over to brown rice, maybe quinoa. If you want to begin to move calories down a little bit, you can go to the riced cauliflower, right? Now, riced cauliflower, again, easy to mix in with your regular rice. You could do a 50-50, cook up a batch of regular rice, get some frozen riced cauliflower, Trader Joe's kind of thing, cook that up and do a 50-50. You've now cut down calories, cut down carbs. You've kept the volume, so you're not restricting the amount of food. And that is the name of the game. That's the magic. You're trying to make sure that volume stays high, so there's plenty of food available, but you're doing these little swaps. The deli meats and all those fast foods, like try to find better alternatives of these guys, and there's ones that are more like, naturally raised, hormone free. These are important.
Columbus has a good one. Okay.
Yeah, these are important, right? Mm-hmm. Your pastas. I love pasta. Pasta's everybody loves pasta. Maybe you do regular pasta for like a zoodles, a zucchini pasta, or maybe you get something like a banza pasta, which is much higher protein, a little bit lower carb, right?
It's chickpea,
so again,
right? Yeah.
Chickpea, right? It's going to fill you up a little longer. And that's the name of the game. Hunger always wins. It's going to fill you up quicker and it's going to sustain you longer, right? It could be pizza. They've got, a lot of fun crust. It could be whole wheat or it could be cauliflower crust, right? Mm-hmm. Get that. Kids love to make pizzas, right? So instead of just ordering a pizza in for delivery from some, chain establishment, make it a family activity. Make it creative. Get all your ingredients lined up. Hey, want to make your own little personal pizzas? They sell these little individual pizza crusts, and that's a lot of fun. Homemade pizzas is probably one of the best ways to get kids interested in cooking. And that's also another thing, as a side note, what a great thing, right? Get children hands-on in the kitchen, assembling like a pizza or healthy tacos or these kind of things, right?
That's always our sleepovers and stuff. It's like, cause I'm not going to make 10 different, here, make your own taco bar or pizza bar.
Potatoes, right? Nothing wrong again with potatoes. They're actually pretty satisfying, but maybe we want to start to, maybe we're dealing with a situation of obesity. We're trying to cut calories, but we don't want to, restrict volume. Maybe we do a cauliflower mash. Maybe we do 50-50 again.
I like that 50-50 idea.
Blend that up, right? A little butter in there, 50 cauliflower, 50 potato. Delicious. And I've had many moms who serve that to their husband. I said, don't even tell him, trying to get my husband to kind of cut back. He's stubborn. Don't even tell him, right? Mix it in and you can't tell, right?
I'm going to try that.
Pasta sauces, homemade tomato sauces. Again, you can get like no sugar added or low sugar marinara. And again, you can do a 50-50, right? As you're transitioning. It's amazing to me how much added sugar is in pasta sauces. Imagine just like a traditional Italian pasta sauce, and then someone comes along and just dumps like a half a cup of sugar on top of your pasta. That's basically what's happening. So again, creamy or thicker soups, heavier calorie soups. Maybe we want to start moving toward vegetable-based soups, broth-based soups, right? Maybe we want to go to leaner things like turkey bacon. Again, this is only in the case where we're actually trying to figure out ways to reduce calories, but we're keeping the same kind of foods around that people are used to.
Well, when my little man, like he could live on mac and cheese morning, noon, and night. And so I would substitute a little bit of squash, like yellow squash, and then mix it with the cheese. He had no idea. So it was like a 50-50 there. Then he called me out because I didn't smush it enough. And he's like, what's this? And then he never ate it again.
Exactly. Here's your wheelhouse, like snacks, right? Here we go.
Oh yeah.
A whole list here. We, fire away some random ones, but we could do trail mixes. The dried fruits instead of the, kind of fake, like 10% fruit, things where they kind of advertise it as healthy, right? Ice creams, right? We can move to, frozen yogurts, fruit popsicles. These are kind of fun things as summer comes along. easy to make.
Yeah, I was just
You
gonna
know, you
say.
got the molds now that you could just easily make these things.
Yeah.
In fact, for the snacks, I want to kind of move over to here. Guys, I just pulled
Oh,
this up
that's a
on the
good.
internet,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's a
And
good
these can
visual.
be easier options, right?
Yep.
There's and some of these brands you probably know, Heidi,
I
from
did.
your
The
work
whole
in
bottom row is probably in my shelf right now.
right, right. You know, uh, going from regular potato chips that are loaded up with these cheap vegetable oils, GMO, glyphosate, moving over to something that's cleaner. You know, the plantain chips, you have none of these additives. Then you move over to like the veggie straws. Again, not terrible, but you can kind of always look for these upgrades, right?
Yeah. And I don't use my don't please people don't use money as an excuse because all of these I can price point every single one of these items here and there's always a sale and you just have to watch. You have to be a really smart shopper and always go Monday through Friday, not the weekends, because they up all the healthy food on the weekend so that people grab all the junk and clean that out because that comes in the most. There's ways to shop too, but just be
This is
mindful of
important though. When we're talking about this, the shopping piece is a big deal because
yeah,
and right along with what Heidi said, there's always going to be sales. I always tell people
always.
in
Monday,
some
Tuesday, the best days.
categories, there's usually going to be, if you're not like completely like loyal to one particular brand, you're going to find something on sale in a
Yes.
category.
Yeah.
Grocery
Don't-
outlet locations. I know in Southern
Yeah.
California, we have them. I got one right across the street from me.
Yeah.
These outlet stores that have, you know, really significant discounts on these items. Shop the sales. Frozen items too. As a side note, great
Yeah.
things to pick up.
And
So you can have.
for pantry snacks and for making mixes and stuff, Aldi's really great because they keep everything really clean. There are no they don't have any brands. So
Love
you
it.
should be careful of the big brands, the big, the guys that the red tinfoil gangs talk about. They control all our foods now. So you do have to watch where your product comes from.
Yeah. And if it
And be
is a
smart shopper.
product that has a commercial, that's one of my mantras. If you
Yeah.
see it on a TV commercial, you
Yeah.
probably want to avoid it.
Yeah.
And again, simple upgrades. Craving, if you're craving milk chocolate, start getting used to darker chocolate. Maybe you start going to 60% cacao. Maybe then you move up to 70. You start continue to change the palate. I'm able to eat, straight dark chocolate.
I know.
Now.
I love it now. I didn't before, but I
Baker's
get it
chocolate.
now.
I can do that now. I make a my own Nutella spread using
Nice.
Baker's chocolate on the pan, a little coconut oil, crumble up some nuts and stuff, and I cook that up.
Nice.
Pour that into a jar, put it in the fridge, and I've got like a 0 sugar Nutella, right?
Nice.
You talked about the kind of swap for sodas. You can do unsweetened teas, seltzers, bubblies, right? Again, just a visual for some of the things that we've mentioned. And people are going to have different tastes. Like I like the salty. Let's talk about that, right? Okay, lightly salted nuts. Some people like heavily salted items. You can take 50% unsalted, mix that in. Now you've cut the sodium in half. And, you're still going to get that salty flavor that you want, right?
Yes. And I'm sitting here waiting to chomp at the next bit with the candy because, again,
have at it.
With the kiddos, I'm never going to be able to swap it for fruit. It's candy. But there are so many amazing companies out there right now that are making clean candy with ingredients you can pronounce in just a couple of them. If you need the package on the go, and Thrive Market always has them on sale. You can get a box of stuff that is comparable to a real candy treat made by horrible corporations. You don't want to give them their money anyway. And it's like, it satisfies them and you feel good as a parent. So all the birthdays, that's the goodie bags, they make from Swedish Fish to gummies to, there's no like goat hooves and,
right.
But
and Thrive Market is great. If we're talking about saving money, they always have deals going on. I've been recommending them since day one. It's a great point.
There is good candy choices. Okay.
Yeah. And again, these kind of things, and going into popcorn, right, guys, probably 95% now of corn on the market is GMO. So, hey, popcorn's great. Popcorn's fun. Doing movie night. Who doesn't want popcorn? You don't want to deprive your children of having popcorn. go find some non-GMO organic popcorn. It's out there. It's great.
And don't be scared. Don't be scared of your local grocery store's generic, because they're all getting privy to the organic line, and it's generic organic. Like our Kroger, Ralph's, it's private selection, and then Simply Health organic, and it's so much cheaper. But if you just don't have these Coca-Cola brands on it, so you save money. Okay.
Right. So these are just, again, more visuals, right? So we can just kind of get a read on this, and these swaps are endless, you guys. The different cooking oils, right? Vegetable oil, get it out. Move over, extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil. They handle heat really well. A lot less inflammatory on the body. I mean, we have just seen a skyrocketing intake of these cheap oils in our food supply. We've talked about this. Yeah. Upgrading something like a bagel to something more like a rice cake, right? These are just visuals. Mm-hmm. Now, one more here might be frozen grapes in the summer. You might want to mix in some protein in with that popcorn. So now we got our organic popcorn. We mix in some crunchy almonds in there. Classics, ants on a log, right?
Yay, I love those.
You can get the dark chocolate chips, right? And you throw them on there. They add crunch. You get a little chocolatey flavor. Super fun, really healthy. Sliced cucumbers, little olive oil, lemon, salt. Love that as like, kind of a chippy, kind of crunchy sort of thing, right? Mm-hmm. If we're talking about our rice cake, what do we want to add? We want to add a little bit of healthy fat. We want to add a little bit of a protein. Here we got, real tasty, just simple banana, a little coconut oil, cinnamon. Cook that up. Got a little cinnamon, delicious. Right? Like a little banana split kind of vibe, right? Here's our bonza pasta that I mentioned earlier. I wanted to showcase. I
remember they were on Shark Tank, by the way. And now you see them all over. Yeah, that's where they started, on Shark Tank.
Now, I wanted you to get a look at the box, and I'm going to head over to here to show you a side-by-side. Well, I just want to show you real quick. And this is when I teach children about food. We look at labels and we talk about the differences, right? So Heidi, you're going to be my student right now. So we've got our apple juice on the left, and how much sugar is in that juice?
Well, I go to 22 grams.
22 grams, right? Yeah. And we're not seeing any fiber, right? So if we're going to go over to here, we've got an apple, right? There are some sugars, but how much?
I can barely see it.
13.
Like
it's 13.
Okay.
It's 13. Yeah. Now, I'll make it a little bigger. But what we have in here are some fiber, right? We've got 3 grams of fiber, right? So all of that sugar is attached into that food matrix, and that's going to make everything release in the body slow. You're not going to get that huge blood sugar spike.
Yeah.
And here's why.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. Now,
I was just going to say, they put gluten-free on the juice just to market it.
Actually, great point.
It's gluten-free.
This is another great point. It's juice, gluten-free.
So
yeah,
crazy.
No kidding. I mean, it's really like
so crazy.
We've lost the plot, you guys. And typically, by the way, for like every 10 grams of carbohydrate, it's good to see a gram of fiber, just as an FYI. Okay. So, when we see something with 17 grams of carbohydrate, I tell kids put the decimal over 1.7 grams or more of fiber would be great, right? So if it's got 40 grams of carbohydrate, Heidi, how many grams of fiber should it have?
4.
4, you got it right. Killing it. Now, this is actually a side-by-side of bonza pasta on the left, okay? And your normal, quote unquote, regular pasta on the right. Now, a 2-ounce serving size. So 2 ounces is in the left column. We got a 2-ounce size here. Again, calories are matched, but let's look at some of the key differences. Carbohydrate.
Fat in there.
Carbohydrates at 32. Okay. Fiber is at 8. Okay. A little bit of natural sugar, but protein is at 14.
That's the big kicker.
If we look over here, regular pasta, 44 grams. How much fiber should we have? 4.4.
Yeah.
We've got 2.
Yeah.
And our protein is at 4. So we're actually looking at over 3 times the amount of protein from something like a bonza pasta. I mentioned bonza because of all the ones that I've cooked up and tried. I could serve this to anybody and they don't know the difference.
Oh, okay, good.
So
You haven't tried it as much.
very filling, you know. So again, I'm just going to scroll down real quickly, side by sides again, so we can look at your typical white bread.
Yeah.
26
And then there's
carb,
Dave's.
1 fiber, right?
Mm-hmm.
4 protein. Here we've got 17 carb, 5 fiber, and 5 protein. So we've got, you know, something that, you know, obviously it's sweetened with organic fruit, right? Got your fiber, got a little bit more protein. And again, it's a swap. But again, if a child is sensitive to, you know, the wheat, then we move them away. We would try to find a gluten-free option.
Yeah.
Here's a fun,
Neither
So
of these.
Right, we see these, and we kind of talk about what's going on in here a lot of times. Again, it's probably
Such a sham.
separate
Such
show.
a sham.
But you know, we've got like higher protein cereals now.
I've never seen that one.
Now let's talk a little bit about this. I don't want to spend too much time because I think it would be a great show idea would be talking about these non-nutritive sweeteners, artificial versus natural sweeteners, and these different things. I want to clarify something. I wanted to use this side by side to clarify something to the audience, that there is a lot of nuance to all of these things, right? If I'm looking at something like a Honey Nut Cheerios, and I've got, you know, a fair amount of sugar and other additives that I might not want for my child, you know, I could move them over to this, right? Now, again, is it perfect? Well, let's talk about it.
Still processed.
Erythritol. I want to touch on erythritol specifically. Recently, there was a study that came out that associated erythritol with heart disease. And I want to mention that on this episode because this is another example. We talked about last show, Heidi, about do your own research.
Yeah.
And here was an example where the headline was really exaggerated. And when you actually looked at the study and what it said, the conclusions that people were making were just really kind of way out there, in my opinion. The study showed an association with elevated levels of erythritol with heart issues, right? Now, when you actually looked at what they really studied, they did not study ingestion of erythritol, guys. Erythritol is made as a metabolite from glucose in the body. We make erythritol. People don't realize that. Furthermore, the headlines were saying artificial sweetener erythritol. It's not an artificial sweetener. Again, our bodies make it. It's found in fruit. It sounds like a spooky, chemically word that you want to run away from. It's under the classification of sugar alcohol. It's neither sugar nor alcohol. That's a whole other conversation, but they call them sugar alcohols. Now, when we go to that study and we see that, they also looked at really unhealthy people. I mean, a significant amount of people in this study group had health issues, like 70% had heart disease already, 20-something% had diabetes, right? And their bodies were showing a high amount of erythritol. Now, we need further research, right? But the single study did not really speak at all whatsoever on the sweetener known as erythritol, to be very clear. Am I saying run out and grab erythritol products? No. Am I saying that if it was me, knowing what I know at this point, if I had an option between what I'm looking at on the left and what I'm looking at the right, I'm taking the right 10 out of 10 times. Now, there's nuance further along. Erythritol being a sugar alcohol, some people end up with tummy trouble with it. They don't process it the same, right? Sometimes you got to like gradually increase the dose. Other sweeteners in here, stevia. Again, stevia is a natural product. The devil is in the dose, a lot of these things. When you look at studies, they often use 10, 20 times more than a person would typically take in, right? Okay. So again, are we saying that this is a perfect product? Probably not. Is it an upgrade? Is it something that we could use to kind of transition the way of eating? Absolutely. Monk fruit is listed on here, which actually is one of my favorites. Monk fruit also goes by the name of Lohan Guo. Wonderful flavor to it. Doesn't have some of the aftertaste of some of these other non-nutritive sweeteners. A great choice. We've got in here resistant cassava fiber. What does that mean? Well, cassava is a root and it adds fiber. Cassava flour is one of the flours that I like to use in place of some of the standard flours, right? And we're using, and medium chain triglyceride, don't be afraid of that. That is simply a fat that is used really well for energy. So coconut has MCTs, right? Medium chain triglyceride. People see the word triglyceride, they get spooked out. Don't worry. I wanted to pull up this label as an example of the nuance that I try to apply when I'm working with people to explain them their ingredients. As a rule of thumb, people are often told, if you can't pronounce it, you don't understand it, put it back. That's a pretty good guideline if you don't know. However, if you have questions on some of these, that's where I might be able to be useful, might be able to be a little bit of help, right? So I wanted to kind of bring that up, Heidi, as an example of, there's a lot of nuance to this. Vitamin E, mixed tocopherol. Ooh, that's spooky. That's just tocopherols. Those are natural compounds in vitamin E. Oh. And you guys should also know they're doing this with cosmetics. In the last few years, they've changed regulations where they've made like cosmetic and healthcare topical products, shampoos and ointments and lotions. They've made them disclose the full botanical name. Now, this is interesting because people then look at that and they see these long words and then they just don't trust these natural products. But a lot of times it's just the name of the botanical name, right? And I think that was done. I'm going to just be a little bit tinfoil hatty, but I think that was done so that it would blur the lines between the natural and synthetic products, because the labels are now looking very similar, but they are completely different. If you're looking at the long botanical name of aloe or echinacea or these different things, chamomile, if you don't know these things, you're going to think, oh my God, that must be some kind of crazy synthetic chemical. I want to avoid it. We're going off on a little tangent, but it's important when we're talking about transitioning to healthier products that there's a lot more going on sometimes on the labels. And again, this is just more side by side that I like to do, where we're looking at, sugar. So here we have your typical yogurt, 17 grams.
I know the brands just by looking at their label.
17 grams of sugar, 6 over here. 13 grams of protein, 22 over here. I mean, this is significant difference, right? So one more thing, and then we're going to get into, this is juicy. We're right on time. Real quick. So these are paleo, right, which is grain-free, dairy-free. So for food sensitivity people, guys, get your screenshots here. These are great alternatives to, your typical flours, your dairy products that you might be sensitive to, some more natural alternatives to sugars. Here we have honey, you mentioned, maple, coconut sugars. What you're going to see in here is you're going to see a lot of minerals, right? Things like molasses and honey and maple. There's actually nutritive benefits to these. And again, stevia is a natural product. Noodles and pasta, there's a ton of these on the markets. Konjac noodles are basically fiber noodles. They go under the name of Miracle Noodles. There is a great video, by the way, guys. Dr. Gundry makes a good video on how to cook up these Konjac noodles. The reason I mention it, if anybody is going to go out to buy these, please see that video by Dr. Gundry on how to prepare them, because it's the best video on the internet about it, and it will make the experience much better, how you can prepare those noodles. But again, these are just great things to know. You can move over to different styles of tortillas, or if you just want to start doing more like lettuce, collard wraps, nori, which provides a lot of, it's basically seaweed wraps. So you can load that up with like some turkey and veggies and make little wraps. You're getting a lot of those micronutrients from something like nori, right? Just a little rapid fire round. And then I've got little recipes on here. But nice, guys, there's a ton of things that we can do. Now, let's stop the share for 1 sec. Okay. So fun so far?
Yes. And can I throw in 2 cents?
Love it. Yes.
Because when people see grocery lists and everything, do not get swayed by the prices. There is no price you can put on your Optimum Health. You're going to be paying more in the long run if you don't nip some things in the bud now with what you consume. I mean, you're not asking anyone to break the bank. You just make simple changes to help your diet. You're going to not have to pay thousands of dollars down the road to repair damage that's done to your body.
Right.
So
well, you pay the grocer or you pay the doctor.
Right. That's it.
It's a great point, Heidi. And again, a lot of times if you are savvy and you shop the sales and you buy in bulk and you do these things, you'd be surprised.
Oh my gosh. Yes,
You
I
can
was a
make it
professional
happen.
grocery shopper. I have spent $10K a month easy for all these major corporations, companies, but I was bought high vibe food and got sustained, healthy, good choices. And that sounded like a lot of money, but that was like for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people.
Sure.
But the shopping, I got that shopping. I'm like, oh, we can do this. Navigate the markets. Go to your local we go to our little local Mexican market for our produce because they don't have a lot of spraying down there. So
yeah, it's
there's
amazing.
all
And
these little things you
there's
can
so
do.
much to this. And thank you so much for your contribution, because I knew this would be a fun one today with you and your background and all this. So let's go into a fun little kind of behind the scenesy thing. So we've talked before, Heidi, about using the technology, right? And this has been a fun little app that I've been using called Gamma. Shout out to Gamma. And I want to show you what I was actually able to do. I took a list of healthy food swaps, and in the Gamma food generator, I made a deck, right? I basically copy and pasted all my healthy food swaps, and it created an organized visual deck for me. Now, how cool is this? Now, what I discovered was that I can have this deck on the screen when I'm working with families, and we have this organized. Okay, so how are we going to switch up your breakfast, right? So I can go in here and I can, type in whatever I want, right? In real time. So maybe they've provided me with their food list.
Mm-hmm.
What I do ahead of time, I'll put in what they're currently doing, and we can work this out together in real time, right? And literally create even a visual. What's amazing about this, I can go in here, I can edit the images you see along the right.
Yeah.
I could do a web image search. I can have them send me pictures of things that they like, and we can create together a visual menu, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can, swap out pictures however I want, right?
Wow.
I could upload photos, upload images. I can, search the web. And why is this important? Because we know a lot of people are just visual. They don't, you give them a food list, it's like, okay, but if they can have photos and they could have precise instructions and have it laid out, organized, we could do a section of their snacks, right? Customized for them. We could do that all during the session, and break down an entire plan.
That's
Pantry
so cool.
swaps,
Yeah.
right?
That's when you use the AI stuff as a tool and you're using it. It's not using you.
Right. We're using it to our benefit. And I just thought this would be something that, the audience would appreciate, is that, when someone's working with me, I want to make things as easy as possible so that, they say the science is in the compliance, right? We want to be able to make this actually happen. And we can start off with a generic template like this and then begin to customize it according to their needs, what they like. And we begin that process. Maybe we're just going to work on, a lot of times I just say, let's just start working on breakfast right now for this week. Let's just take a look at what do you guys actually have? Take an inventory, right? Get an inventory to me, send me some photos, and we can start going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, what do we got? What cereals do we have on hand? What's on the market that we could maybe swap to? Maybe we could talk about some of these energy balls, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love going to a
We lost your hearing, I think. We lost your hearing or your sound. There you go.
I like to go to a site like Paleo Hacks, right? Where I might put a dessert in immediately, and I can get, look at this on the screen. And the reason I chose this site is they have some really amazing, kid-friendly, fun, holiday-friendly. If your child has a problem with dairy, here we have dairy-free desserts, apple pies that use, simple ingredients, right? So there are resources out there. I'm going to stop the share now.
Mm-hmm.
There are resources out there in today's day and age that you can get it done. I think old habits die hard. I think that sometimes people are overwhelmed, they throw their hands up, but that's why there's this organized process that I like to use where we're looking at specifics. We're going to get pictures, we can do accountability check-in, send me photos, what's working, what's not. And then over time, little steps, big health.
Yeah.
Swap it, don't drop it, replace it, don't erase it. And slowly you start playing that game where, hunger always wins. I'm feeding my family in a way where we're loving what we're eating and we're satisfied with what we're eating, and it's sustainable.
Makes sense.
That's
Yay.
easier said than done often, but you can make it happen.
You can totally make it happen. And you put a little effort into it. You just got to put a little love into it and question the things. I do get surprised sometimes when I see families at checkouts and you can't help it. I look I'm like, well, what are they getting?
You're peeking. Yeah.
You can't not help that. And you see some savvy shoppers out there, and then you just see some falling for the low price or the deals, the new products, the junk.
Right.
And then you look at the family, and sometimes the light is out. You want to get to the tinfoil thing. My whole thing with the war on consciousness, we want to be as clear and a sound body and mind as possible. Our health is everything. And everyone talking about this future time when beds come and everything, I go, you can be doing it now. You can be regenerating and taking care of your body now. I know I always plug that, but I'm just such an advocate for that.
Absolutely.
So make good choices.
Use the technology that's, use the futuristic technology and pair that up with, good old fashioned traditional eating. And, I think that technology is great in some areas. In some areas, it hasn't served us well. And I think in terms of, agriculture and food science, we're starting to see, again, ultra processed food. Anywhere from 60 to 70% of the U.S. diet now is in the form of ultra processed foods.
Yes.
And, there are even healthier options of processed foods, as we saw, there's nuance, but you guys, these little changes, these little food swaps can make all the difference, You have to be patient sometimes, and sometimes it's not going to be a direct victory right away. You might have to be, trial and error. You see how they like that. Oh, that was a hit. That didn't work so well. Okay. Put in the time, put in the work. It's worth it.
And you are being an advocate and helping the communities out there when you put your dollars in the right companies. I remember during craft service, even unless it was a job that was tied to a product, like we'd be doing a Pepsi job or, some celebrities endorsing something and you have to stay in that frame of reference. I would go to shopping with my lists of the corrupt corporations and buy anything but their products because I had money to spend. I'm like, I'm not going to feed the beast. So choose good products. There's a lot of moms and pops out there making their own. There's a lot of new things come up and coming. You have to know the right places to look in a grocery store too. Of course, everything on the outskirts is usually freshest, but even the aisles are getting savvy. And sometimes they have a very small window of, natural, they'll say. It's usually the cleaner ingredients, but it takes a little bit of digging, but it gets so easy once you get comfortable shopping smart. And it's possible. And like I said, I'm a mom, I'm a family, I have kids, we have modern day kids, and we still have cereals and packaged goods. I am not full granola. I'm not making baby foods or any of that stuff, but I'm getting the best options out there. And it's not,
Remember, if your grocery store has a health food section, question what the rest of the grocery store is selling you.
But you don't see me spending money at Whole Foods, just so you know. I'm not always shopping there.
I don't like that. It shocks people how little I spend on my own groceries because of just using these strategies. I'm always shopping sales. I'm always looking for deals, but within those healthy selections, and you guys, you can make it happen. We've talked before, Heidi and I used to be roommates. And when we first moved to Chicago, or from Chicago to LA, times were lean.
I lived
And
on Boxo wine and cheese, but you were doing the right thing.
but eggs, oatmeal, tuna fish, almond butter, like you can eat healthy on a budget. It can be done.
Mhm.
And again, those trips to the grocery store, it might be like, let the kids go pick out 3 things and let them go find what they want. Again, it's important to have that balance and to allow them to decisions, but you control as a parent what is coming into the home.
Yes.
You're involving them in the shopping, but
Yeah.
majority of those
Boundaries
foods
are
coming into the
okay.
home, they're necessary, right?
Yeah. I literally show the cereal aisle, which is pretty much the entire aisle. It's insane. But there's one little, I go in this entire little, not, I don't say little, but in
Right.
this whole section, pick whatever you want.
Right.
And then it's like Mom's Best has some good ones. There's some cleaner choices. And then any aisle, any section, I go, here is your section. Pick your lunch snack or your packaged snack for the road, or
Right.
here's the area you get to look, and they have choices and they feel like they're a part of it.
Yeah.
But
So
and everything
important.
is labeled very well now, I think. I mean, they do try to trick you, but you can get to the basics of like gluten-free and let's not forget just good old Whole Foods. I keep talking about smart shopping with packaged goods,
Yeah.
especially with craft stores. When I did a lot of baskets and healthy baskets for people, it was a lot of nori and beef jerky, and I got
Yeah.
as clean and basic as you could. But don't forget just good old Whole Foods. Avocados, not the store. Avocados, fresh fruits, meat, protein.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
basics.
Cooking up things in batches and then
Yeah.
prepping it out for the week and things like that.
Yeah. And then fill
Slicing
in the
up some
gaps
things
with
and
package.
right, slicing up some vegetables, slicing up some fruits, these different things.
Yeah.
Squirt a little lemon on top of those apples so they don't brown, right?
Yep. Yep. Charlie does that even before she dips them in chocolate. But there's dark chocolate.
Yeah,
She
exactly.
loves
You can have
chocolate
like a
dipped
little
fruit.
chocolate dipping sauce, and you got some organic strawberries. Strawberries are in season right now. You melt down, you do a little healthy chocolate fondue kind of thing, and they're dipping their strawberries in, and it's great. And the
Yeah.
more you make it involve them in the
That's what I was
process, the
just
more
gonna say.
connected they are to their food.
Yeah.
That this is also an important piece of it. So
Yeah.
a fun episode today.
Real quick side note. We just went to this little girl's. It was her 6th birthday, and she had 2 guests, and one was my almost 10-year-old son because she's thinking they get along so well. And anyway, she made her own birthday cake. She made her own little whipped frosting. She made deviled eggs because she just goes. Her mom's like, I don't know, it's all she wanted for her birthday, but she made them. They were delicious. But she was eating devil egg with cake with devil, like it was her concoction, but she had boundaries to make to go adhere by, and the cake was so clean and so lovely, and it wasn't like a huge frosted 5-tier thing. It was this sweet, delicious, good for you cake that she made. She was so proud, and that was her birthday. She wanted to be a part of it.
I love that.
And that was the big thing for
See,
her.
that's
And I'm
that's
like,
a great thing that you mentioned, because a lot of times I'll tell parents, like, and in fact, not too long ago, I had a situation like that with the birthday cake thing, and I said, you can ask your daughter, say, I can make your birthday cake if you like, or you can make it, or we can make it together. Now you've set out some choices, but it's going to be a homemade cake already, right? So you've limited the choices to homemade, but you've put it forward as Mom can do it, you can do it, or we can do this together. And they actually chose to make it together. Beautiful, right? Now you've got a little mommy-daughter bonding time. They're making this homemade cake. It's special. It's going to be linked into a powerful memory, because, again, one of the biggest issues is the linking of memories to certain foods. And by and large, foods at parties aren't the healthiest. And so later in life, we are longing for those foods, but we're really longing for the feelings, the memories, right? So the more we can build wonderful memories around healthy settings and healthy food prep and all those things, you're wiring up them for success later in life, where they're going to be looking to make that homemade healthy cake recipe that they made with Mom when they were 10 years old, right? It's a different thing, because we're associative creatures. So I can't express enough how important it is to create these healthy memories.
Yeah. And create little cooks in the kitchen. And,
Yeah.
I learned that with Rainbow Chefs with you.
Rainbow Chefs
Going
Academy, shout out.
yeah, into the classroom with them, and these children are into it. And you see the parents kind of not aware of what's some of the stuff is, but you realize the child's going to learn, and they're going to bring that back to their family and create new generations of understanding what these things meant. It starts with the kids. Yeah, we got to give them their good, healthy habits. Kids get healthy.
Kids get healthy.
Speaking of, let's go back to our little kidsgethealthy.com. You can reach Lawrence at kidsgethealthy.com. Don't forget to also check out, and I do just love, shout out Rainbow Chefs Academy. They are fabulous. I really wish I could work with you tomorrow. You're going back tomorrow to do an event, aren't you?
We're not. The event is the event is going to be happening at a later date. But yeah, good memory on that.
But maybe I can join you next
that was
time.
actually gonna talk to you after the
Yay!
show.
Okay, sorry.
Healthy helper Heidi is irreplaceable. It's very difficult to find someone to fill your shoes. But yeah, kidsgethealthy.com, Lawrence at kidsgethealthy.com, and check out Rainbow Chefs Academy. We're doing some amazing things right now, you guys. It's just so much fun for me. I'm literally living the dream right now for children's health. I think this is the best company in the country. I couldn't be happier to be involved in this organization. And, the other side of Rainbow Chefs Academy, there's Rainbow Chefs events that, it's up in the Bay Area right now, but hopefully that'll expand. But it's just so much fun to see. I feel hopeful about the future.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do my part. And, I hope today was helpful for some of y'all out there. And
I hope so too. I hope it resonates. And please let us know what you think of that. And Lawrence, I appreciate your delivery of information. It's clear, it's concise, it's easy to follow. And folks, if you are a parent out there or a teacher or guardian, these kind of episodes are great to do with your kids, especially your tweens and, really any age. Yeah. But it is information that can be received by them. So yeah, we'll have to have fucking Chuck on here and tell you their 2 cents because they've watched some replays.
That would be fun. We could do an episode with them involved. That would be a lot of fun.
And see what you do with a client.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, we could do a little role play kind of thing.
Yeah. Cool. Well, awesome. Well, I can't wait to dive deeper with you. Again, we'll see you every 2 weeks, everybody. We are on Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, Kids Get Healthy, and the Kids Health series. Hashtag
Kids Health.
Thank you again, Lawrence. Do you have any closing remarks before I'm going to roll your Kids Get Healthy trailer again?
Nature abhors a vacuum. Swap it, don't drop it. Replace it, don't erase it. Restriction is never good. Additive is great. Hunger always wins. That's it. Drop the mic.
Drop.
Roll the tape.
All right. Have a beautiful one.
Bye.